pass the ribbon.
You ever had canned beer when you do it?
Hey, Thumb, you guys have pass the ribbon out here? Well, you don't even have to.
The injury beer.
No pork?
Yeah, I used to do the kids stand.
Yeah, and well, what does that mean? Like, you don't like things that are pork?
Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, continuing our review series of unrated and underappreciated movies, and in this edition we will focus on the action-packed terrorist thriller The Kingdom. Released on September the 28th, 2007, it stars Jamie Foxx, Jenifer Garner, Jason Bateman, Chris Cooper, Danny Huston, and it was directed by Peter Berg. Now the story of The Kingdom is that we are set within the backdrop of Saudi Arabia and terrorism. A major incident involves a bomb being set off during a softball game, killing many innocent civilians. This is shortly followed by another bomb attack at a hospital where a US special agent is killed amongst the other casualties. Back in Washington DC, Agent Roland Fleury hears of the news and notifies this to his team, who collate together seeking some mission of revenge when they decide to go to Saudi Arabia to investigate the attacks. Having been initially denied by the US Department of Justice, Fleury goes rogue by raging Saudi Arabia to gain entry into the territory for him and his team. Once they arrive in Saudi, the team are escorted through the area by the commander of the Saudi police forces, Fanzal Jassi, and during their investigation the US team continually clash and become obstructed from figures from both the US and Saudi governments. As they finally make some headway into finding the culprits of the attacks, they suddenly come under attack themselves and get involved in an all-out war for which they have to fend for their lives. Now The Kingdom is a very high energy, kinetic action thriller. The pacing of the film is at times very fast, accompanied with a serious tone that has plenty of moments of intensity and tension. It really grabs your attention, especially from its opening sequences involving the bomb attacks, which are very startling and brutal in their intensity and realism, and it really compels you to the overall story. The pace does settle down after these opening attacks, where we delve far more into the political relations and cultural attitudes. Amidst the fast pace, the movie does have moments to acknowledge the potential ramifications and consequences that certain actions continue to have on both sides of the world, as well as containing a semblance on the causes of terrorism itself. Now in comparison, we don't quite get the same complex nuances that we did with Steven Spielberg's Munich, but there is definitely more reflection on the current events than, let's say, Black Hawk Down, which focus far more on the intense action sequences. Director Peter Berg handles these action scenes with a certain elite skill and precision. There's a real raw and gritty visceral feeling to all of the scale and carnage displayed on screen. Yes, there is a frenetic feeling to everything, but Berg does avoid the shaky cam that we see so often with these movies for the most part, and the sequences overall are mostly coherent and you can easily tell what is going on. All of this culminates in the film's climactic 15 to 20 minutes, which essentially is an all-out assault, and you feel the full force of bullets and explosions and missiles and car chases and punches and kicks. It truly is an all-out attack on the senses, with all of the shootout scenes drawing many comparisons to the epic robbery assault that we saw in Michael Mann's Heat. It truly is maximum levels of action and excitement. Now in terms of the cast of actors, I think all of them perform their roles competently enough. Jamie Foxx is solid enough, I'd say, as Agent Fury, admittedly playing very much more into his own screen persona rather than crafting an actual different character. Chris Cooper is good for the limited screen time he has, far more of a laid back, somewhat sarcastic character. He's far more involved in discovering the actual causes of the bomb. Jenifer Garner and Jason Bateman too have limited roles and try to do the best that they can with what they have. However, the best performance of the film without any question goes to Ashraf Barnham as the Colonel Faris al-Ghazazi, who initially is sent in to monitor and very much contain the US investigation team. After initial hostility with the US team, he eventually connects and finds some good common ground with all of the US members. He's easily the most likeable and charismatic character, and he actually has an overall arc as he's initially conflicted between his own people and the new friendships that he's built during this investigation. Now, for all of its great merits, there are some flaws within the kingdom, and going back to the point that I made in terms of the cast of actors, in terms of their characters, there really is a certain limited characterization overall. The team very routinely joins the mission, and we don't really have the time to really tap into their overall motivations and desires. We definitely could have added a lot more depth and layers to their overall personalities. There is a certain functionality in the way that they go about their business. The film doesn't really take the time to really tap into any fears or insecurities or stresses that the team goes under during this investigation. Now, whilst Peter Berg's skill in terms of the action is truly justified, he does make the camera jump around a little too quickly, and this is most noticeable during the actual dialogue scenes between characters. It can at times become a bit jarring and slightly difficult to follow the camera around as everybody is speaking to one another. He also does share a certain amount of the same tendencies that we see a lot with the Michael Bay movies in terms of the various montages and the rock music playing within the soundtrack. Now, he doesn't overdo this like Michael Bay, but it's still there overall, and I think the film could have maybe toned down a little bit in terms of the various montages and soundtrack during its story. So if I had to give an overall score for The Kingdom, I would give it a 7.9 out of 10. So when we talk about the overall release of The Kingdom, and on a budget of 70 million, the movie grossed around 87 million worldwide, barely making its money back and not proving really to be a big box office success. Now, I think the reason for this is that any film that takes on the very serious subject of anti-terrorism and international relations and politics will always struggle to find a mainstream audience. The Kingdom is very much a movie that doesn't really try to present a good guy or a bad guy. In fact, I would dare say that if there is a certain antagonist within the story, it's probably more on the US governments as they try to continually hinder the team in terms of their investigations. Certainly the character played by Danny Houston is very seemingly the stereotypical bureaucrat in many sense, more concerned about the image of the Justice Department rather than actually finding out the truth about the attacks. There will always be a divisive response towards how certain characters and political territories are portrayed. But despite this, The Kingdom remains a spectacular, efficient and very pulsating action movie, including with what I would say is a sufficient amount of reference and acknowledgement to the subject matter of terrorism and international antagonism, and all of this included a truly exceptional final climax, make The Kingdom a worthy movie of your attention, and definitely a movie that deserves far more attention both on and post its release. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and review of The Kingdom. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've seen the film, how much did you think it tapped into the serious subject matter? Did you think it truly did justice in terms of the politics and conveying enough of the attitudes on both sides concerning the US and Saudi governments? What indeed did you think about the last 15 to 20 minutes? Do you think it's an apt comparison in terms of the shootout that we got from Michael Mann's Heat, or do you think it's even superior in terms of the frenetic action that we saw on screen? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any other movies that you'd like to see me review within this channel, then drop me a suggestion with the comments, and if I've indeed seen that movie, I'll provide an extra commentary on that as well. Please also hit and like those subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.